So it all started with one single conversation where Susanna was telling me about how we could make a material from coconut water. And it's just fascinating, like how you could turn coconut water into a material, like something which is solid.
Welcome to Mindful Businesses, presented by Sarani, and I'm your host, Vidya Iyer. In our podcast, we bring to you brands which are mindful in their practices and processes. A mindful business adopts and employs sustainable social, economic, and environmental practices. We record this episode in one of the most cosmopolitan and diverse cities in India, Mumbai. Today, we have with us Susmeet Sushil and Susanna Gomboshova, co-founders of Malai. There's more to coconut than you thought. They join us from Cochin, Kerala, a lovely coastal southern city in India. Welcome, Susanna and Susmeet.
Hello, Vidya.
Hello, Vidya. Thank you so much for inviting us to your podcast. It's great.
I was absolutely fascinated when I came across your brand. My brain went like, wait, how and what? But before we get into that, my roots are from Kerala, and coconuts are very important in every aspect of my life, in terms of food, in terms of medicine, in terms of beauty care, in terms of religion.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Kerala and its relationship with coconut, how passionate a Keralite is about coconut.
Kerala, from the very name of it, it's land of coconuts. It's a state or a country named after coconut tree. So I don't know if there is any other country or a state which is named after a tree. So it's literally land of coconuts. You take an aerial view of Kerala and you see like dots, green dots, and they are all coconuts. And as you rightly said, it can be used for anything and everything. Food, it's like a tree of life. It's also called a tree of life. And this is one single reason I jumped on this journey, this journey of Malai. So it all started with one single conversation where Susanna was telling me about how we could make a material from coconut water. And it's just fascinating, like how you could turn coconut water into a material, like something which is solid. So that was the start of the story.
So who thought about the company and how did you guys go about it?
It started with Susanna, so I would ask her to tell the story, how it started.
Yeah, actually my journey didn't start with coconuts at all initially. During my studies in London, I was researching a material called bacterial cellulose. It's a type of material that grows, that is fermented on different types of media. You know, you might be familiar with it from the world of beverages, where kombucha is very popular nowadays. You might be familiar with it from food industry, if you like the nata de coco. You might be familiar with it from cosmetic industry. Maybe in some cases it's used as face mask. Media. And well, during that time, during the research stage, I came across an industry developed in Philippines, which uses precisely coconut water for fermentation process of bacterial cellulose. So when I came to India, I came for a different reason. I came for a job offer, but I had an idea back in my mind, after I saw India, okay, you guys have a lot of coconuts. I'm sure somebody must be growing bacterial cellulose here with all that stuff, but nobody was. Anyways, I met Susmeet at the time, and he was from Kerala. I had no idea what Kerala was and that it meant so much in terms of coconuts. But I guess he found the idea intriguing as well, precisely because he was from a part of, country, a place where coconuts have so much significance for daily life.
So how did you two meet and how did you become co-founders? Susanna, you're from Slovakia?
Yeah.
Yep.
So we met
in Mumbai.
In Mumbai, actually. I came there to work on a project for one big Indian company. So we were both working at the innovation center of the company. So we met basically as colleagues, but we shared a lot of, values. We shared similar views on sustainability, ecology. We're both quite passionate makers, so we spend a lot of time in the workshops discussing, how exciting this whole coconut growing thing is. So I think work brought us together initially, and we didn't decide to co-found the company out of a sudden. We started experimenting. we moved to a different district of India in South India, where we decided to start experimenting with the growth of the material more intensively, and also to push the material further so that it can be used for all sorts of different applications.
So this first 1 year after we left our jobs, and we were not very sure whether we will start a company, what application will this material go into. But we both were very much intrigued by the fact that, okay, this is a very much a sustainable material. And let's see what this material can offer. So we thought it was like a pure research and like an open-ended research. So we slowly had to narrow it down to one application that we would want to take it forward. Months passed.
That's a really big step to quit your jobs. You probably had well-paying, interesting jobs where you're innovating and in this maker space. And you're like, okay, no, we want to try to make fiber out of water.
One thing that we undermine a lot is lot of materials. Materials are everywhere. Everything we do is materials. Everything around you is material, and it is one of the most undervalued substance
maybe we can give you a little more of background.
Sure.
To what prompted us.
Yes, please.
From the work perspective, we were, as you said, we had jobs, we were on the path of becoming members of this big company. Susmit used to work on water filtration.
Yeah, so I used to work on a water purifier. So I worked almost all my years on water purification.
Yeah.
So, but in this company, the one I was working for and the one we were working for, we were making something very futuristic. Maybe 30, 40 years from now, we will have a water purifier like that. But whereas in the same state of Maharashtra, where Bombay is, people were dying because of water scarcity that year. So, what's the point of you making something for 30, 40 years down the line, and you're not solving the problems that your society is facing right now, a few kilometers away from the place you're working? So it was in a way pointless. Susanna's project was much more interesting.
Yes, it is.
I'll ask her. Tell her.
I'll go ahead. So I got invited to work on a project that was initiated there that was looking at the industrial waste that the company generated from all different businesses, factories, We looked at the scale of generation of waste, so quantities, what it is. I think more than 800 kinds of materials were identified. And from those, there are materials that you can recycle, there are materials that you cannot recycle, there are materials that you simply have to incinerate. But it kind of made me understand very thoroughly the whole material cycle that is ingrained in our industries. And it made me understand that recycling ultimately is great, but it's not solving our problems. It's just kind of stretching the timeline. Besides, especially I think in economies and in countries like India, it's so complicated to take control over how things are done, and whether processes are really done in a way that they should. So it kind of made me think about the whole material culture that we live in, and I couldn't see many materials that would be good for the environment, that would be not exploiting somebody at some point of their manufacturing. So I started simply thinking about the materials in a different way, and I didn't want to create materials or contribute to industries that would further hinder the faith of our world, let's say.
Right. So what you're trying to say is that a lot of the recycling that you saw was just kicking the can to the next stage. It was just kicking the can around.
Recycling is kicking the can around.
It's a good practice. It's definitely a good practice. But, it's became such a huge, marketing term to use as well. Every big company says, we are recycling, therefore we are good.
Right.
And they even go to the measure when they say, no additional water was used in the recycling of this, in the process of manufacturing this material. Or, there are many environmental claims which are pulled out completely from the context, because if you're recycling a material, that means that certain, amount of energy, resources, water, whatever, was already used for making that material in the first place. So you're just, adding to all that. So recycling, of course, is a good practice, but ultimately it's not solving the problems that we are facing.
Right. And even as human beings, if personally for me, if I think I'm recycling, I feel it's okay to consume this water bottle, to use this water bottle because I'm recycling it. But no, I should not even start at that point, right? I should have a reusable water bottle to begin with, not a plastic one. But the fact that I can recycle it gives me sort of the license to, psychologically gives me the license to say, okay, I'm recycling it anyway, and it's okay to use it. What is the meaning of the name Malai?
We have adopted the name from nata de coco, which means cream of coconut. And nata de coco is the name bacterial cellulose is known in Southeast Asian country.
Yeah, countries like Philippines, Indonesia, where this bacterial cellulose with this material that we work with originated from. Malai is also how many people in the world, especially in India, would call the white flesh of tender coconut. I don't know if you're familiar with it. Yeah, so that's Malai as well. And if you look at the color, the texture, the appearance of the Malai from coconut, it actually looks very, very similar to nata de coco or to bacterial cellulose when we ferment it on coconut water. So we saw association in that, but also Malai or cream has an association of something very good quality, top notch. So it's like the best we take from nature in a way.
From where do you get the discarded coconut water? Where do you procure your raw materials from?
So in South India, we consume a lot of coconuts. And when we say coconuts, so all the cooking oil that we use, coconut oil. We use it as hair oil and we use it in our daily dishes. And when it comes to bakery and confectionery, we use dry coconut, we use coconut milk. So all these coconuts products which are commercially available are made in some sort of factories.
And when you say coconut, they use only the kernel part. They don't use the water part, to be specific.
Exactly. So all the products that are available commercially, they use the white flesh of the coconut. And the matured coconut are used for this. And we use the water that is generally thrown out or discarded. So in a way, we are finding an application, a better application for an industrial waste stream.
Industrial waste. We are just collecting the water that's not being used. Otherwise, it would be thrown away. And a small coconut processing unit, according to what we found, can dispose of, 4,000 liters per day easily. It can be more. It can go up to 12,000 with a maybe medium scale. Was it, or large scale? Medium, I think.
Medium scale, yeah.
Yeah. So it's actually, we are talking about, large quantities of this water. It's not like, few hundred milliliters that are thrown away every day. So that's our primary resource.
So what is the science behind the bacterial cellulosis? What is the science? What exactly happens? Is it like making yogurt and kombucha, or how does it work?
In coconut water, there is glucose, right? So it's sweet, so it has sugar content. Primarily, we can use any stream, any liquid that has sugar content in it. We call it carbon. So if there is a carbon source, what this bacteria does is, it takes the glucose from it and it links together and makes cellulose. Cellulose is a polymer of glucose. So why this bacteria is doing this is once it makes cellulose, this cellulose starts floating on the top. And this particular bacteria needs both nutrients as well as oxygen. So this flotation setup kind of facilitates that. It makes bacterial cellulose, which is also called the mother.
Mother culture, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the whole process takes 12 to 14 days. And it really is kind of magical because you start with, let's say, a tray with your coconut water media, which is liquid. And over first 5 days, you can see a little kind of film on the top of the water. And gradually over the days, the bacteria kind of consumes the water and converts it into this jelly. I mean, if I didn't tell you it's cellulose, you probably wouldn't know. I mean, it's difficult to identify. It looks like it's strong jelly. And after, 12, 14 days, you can see just the jelly and you can harvest it.
So how much coconut water would you need to make like a square foot of your material?
Square feet, we don't generally.
It's like, 30 by 30 centimeters?
Yeah, 30 by 30
centimeters. Or you can, whatever is your standard size.
So we need around 15 liters of coconuts to make 1 square meter.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Square meter.
Square meter, yeah.
Yeah. So 15 liters of coconut water, we'll have to break like 150 coconuts. Around roughly 150 to 200 coconuts for that.
And how durable is this material? If you compare it, what would you compare it to? Leather, fabric, or felt?
Not felt. So there is a distinction between, bacterial cellulose in its pure form and then the Malai, which is a biocomposite material that we make, that we kind of formulated here. Mm-hmm. Bacterial cellulose itself in the wet state looks like, kind of like Malai from coconuts, let's say, kind of jelly, but it's difficult to tear it, it would be quite strong.
Oh, so you have one more step after that. Do you want to talk about that step? Yeah. Okay. What is that? What do you do with this jelly now?
So we harvest the jelly. Mm-hmm. We basically have prepared or invented the formulation of blending this sheet of material with natural fibers. Mm-hmm. We use natural fibers from banana stem, from hemp, and from sisal plants. We form it into a sheet of material. The natural fibers there serve as strengthening agent, as an agent that adds body to the material, which makes it a little more durable as well. And we have a process of dyeing as well. We only use natural dyes. So there are basically several steps into making bacterial cellulose into a sheet of Malai. But they're all quite simple processes. They're all using natural compounds that are all biodegradable, which is kind of a USP, I guess, that we have. And in the end, we would have what we call Malai.
What are the unique properties of Malai? Besides being biodegradable and using waste to create the material?
Malai, so primarily one thing that I want to make clear is that we are a materials research and development company. We research new materials, and Malai is the first material that we have come up with. As designers, when we work with some materials, like we tend to take the material and use it as it is. Like we don't go back and forth. So when I say back and forth, imagine paper as a material. So if you are a designer, you can make boxes with it, you can make packaging with it. So that is using the material as it is. So when we want to do materials design, like designing with the material, we go back. Like we take the paper and we say that, okay, this was pulp before. So if we look at the pulp, or if we start from the pulp before actually converting it into paper, if we start from the pulp, the possibilities kind of broaden here. So if you can do something like paper mache, you can do something like the pulp forming. The possibilities are more, not just making it into a flat sheet, you can make 3-dimensional objects with it. And if you go one step back again, so it was fiber before, like it was wood, or it was wood chips, or it was some sort of a natural fiber before making it into pulp. You could think of maybe weaving it first and then putting the pulp over it. So, when you start working with the material, like the horizon kind of broadens. So coming back to the question, what are the unique properties of Malai? So there are certain things that we can do with Malai that cannot be done with leather per se, because we have all these stages at a stage we have a stage where there are fibers in the manufacturing process. We have a stage where there's pulp in the manufacturing process, and we have a stage where there is a wet sheet in the manufacturing process. So what it gives to the producer or the maker who is using Malai is that you can modify it at each stage. Which is not like possible with when you're using PU-based or PVC-based material, or you get the material as it is, and then you don't have much options. Like you have to kind of work with what is available.
What material do you see Malai substituting?
The most important thing for us is designing the right process of manufacturing of the material. And that is a priority because we want to keep it as, environmentally friendly and integral in the nature as possible. When it comes to use of material, we look at applications mostly. So, we don't look at it as an imitation or substitute for material like leather in general, because if you look at the leather, it's a material that has incredible variability of, applications and uses, and it's been here with humanity for thousands of years. It would be great if we could substitute leather with one material, but I am not sure about it yet. But we already know that we can use Malai instead of leather in some of the applications. So let's say you want to make a bag, you have choices of material. You could use leather, you could use artificial leather, you could use textile. All these materials will give it a little different, feel and touch and whatever. You could use Malai as well. You can use Malai and work with the material in a similar way you would work with leather, which means you can glue it, sew it, you can skive it, you can use it in a similar way as using leather of similar thickness, let's say. You could use it for making sandals or some kind of loafer type shoes. You could use it for furniture features. We are still exploring many of the uses.
So yeah, I saw you had a variety of collaborations with different companies. Would you like to talk about that? One was Cassetto, which you were using it for cardboard briefcases and some sort of a plastic, some sort of a upholstery. Would you like to talk a little bit about those applications that your materials have?
So Cassetto, since you mentioned, it was one of the most interesting applications or interesting collaborations that we had, because we were trying to develop this material to make bags and wallets, and we wanted it to resemble leather in the feel, like how the material would flex, like the kind of softness and suppleness it had. But when it came to Cassetto actually wanted something which is really stiff and hard. So it was actually really easy for us to do that, because like when we make Malai in one of its like the first forms that as it comes out of processing, it's quite hard. Like it's just like a stiff board. You can actually knock on it. So it was very easy to, that collaboration was particularly interesting for this reason. When we look at the material, what is the application? So when you look at the application, you will say that, okay, this material need not behave like leather for this particular application. So what we are trying to do is like we are trying to develop the material which fits the application perfectly. Mm-hmm. The material behaves differently in different applications, which may not be the case with...
Right. Like Susanna mentioned, like, in any part of the process, you can change what inputs you put in depending on the stiffness or the flexibility or rigidity required by the application. Isn't that what you're saying?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of variability you can achieve during making part of the material itself. Mm-hmm. But also, as I mentioned, if you look at our material in comparison with leather itself has many different types, many different, grains. It's just that it all comes from the same source, which is an animal skin, but it can be processed in many different ways. The same kind of principle can apply to Malai, you can make Malai in certain type of GSM, in certain thickness, and use it for, making bags. But in order to make it suitable for material for making sneakers, let's say, you need to twist it a little bit so that it can be used with the same technology that is currently used for making sneakers. So there's still a lot of, I think, R&D, on our side, if we would like to make it applicable on all possible uses of leather that we currently see. That's why we thought we find basically the application for accessories the most suitable at the moment.
When did you start the company?
We started the company in 2018. We registered. Basically, we started our research.
So primarily the research was for 1 year.
Yeah.
We are doing just the research, and towards the end of the year, like we had something like, okay, we started making products which resembled the Malai we currently have, and we made a few products like bags and wallets from it. We send it out to people to test it, like who are like their primary alpha users. And in January 2018, it's 24th January 2018, we started the company.
Yeah, that's like official start. But the project started in 2017, yeah.
So you have a Kickstarter going on right now. Is it still on or no?
No, it's already over. We completed it successfully, which is amazing.
How much did you raise?
We raised around 18,000 euros.
And what was your target?
15. So we reached basically 123%. And it was a very interesting experience, for us as well, because it was the first time we were commercially offering products made from Malai. There are already few brands in the world who offer products from it. But this was the first time it came from us, because we want people to test it. We want final customers who are going to basically wear and use these products. We want their feedback as well. So it was good to know that there are people willing to have these products. And in terms of what it means for us, we need to improve our manufacturing processes. We need better equipment. So we are planning to buy a dryer, hydraulic press with it, and a couple of other things that we really need here.
So where can one buy these products? Are they available online, or is it if I'm a creator of a designer, only then I buy it in bulk from you and then make the products that I want?
Yeah, if you're a maker or a brand or a manufacturer, you would contact us and tell us what material you need, what you need it for, so that we have an idea of what you need. And we supply material primarily. It's not necessarily in bulk because our production capacity is also very small at the moment.
What is your capacity in general?
We make 200 square meters of material every month.
So you tell us what you need, and then basically the materials are made to order, and we'll make it. Because that's, so far has been the model we were able to work out in the process of R&D, in the process of improving, the processes and working on the material itself.
Thank you, Susanna and Susmeet, for coming on Mindful Businesses and sharing your journey in creating this sustainable and versatile fabric.
Thank you for inviting us. It's been a pleasure to have a chat with you from Mumbai to Kochi.
Thank you so much.
If you're a creator of a mindful brand or would like to recommend a mindful brand to be featured on our show, send us a message on our Facebook or Instagram page. We recorded this podcast at Radio Vani Studio in Mumbai, India. Tatum Gale composed the music for this podcast. This is Vidya Iyer for Mindful Businesses.